Okay, welcome everybody. I thought I would do an orientation video to help get you structured into a DLON course at HCC. Certainly, if you're new to these online courses, bear in mind there's a difference between DLON and DLiveC. The DLiveCs actually have live meetings, everything's online, but you would meet at a certain time, certain day, and I would give lectures like I normally would on campus. This course, however, is a DLON class, so it's fully online, meaning we have no lectures of any kind, no formal meeting times of any kind, save for taking your exams, which I'll show you in your syllabus in a minute. So I thought I'd put this together since I'm not there with you on campus, guiding you day in and day out, week after week, month after month as you go through the course. How to approach everything, where to find everything, how to get your materials, how to set up a Teams appointment, anything like that. So I thought I would run you through it. Bear with me, it's a little bit of a long video, but it's definitely worth your time. So hopefully you can see your main web page, of course, the HEC's main web page. When you go into Canvas itself, of course, you go to your courses, select the course you want. Of course, for us, it's environmental science, so there it is. And with this environmental science class, then, this is a full summer environmental science class. We have some that are full term and some that are late start. So it'd be like a condensed version, which is kind of intriguing, a condensed summer class, even though summer classes themselves can be viewed as condensed. So hopefully you're in the right place. If not, remember you have to go to the registrar's office and or onto HawkNet to either drop or withdraw from the courses. Professors can't do that for you. So looking at this main page, it's just a welcome page showing you, pretty much the generalities of the course. So take some time, of course, on your own to go through these pages. I'm going to show you the major steps though. But here it is, of course, the course itself, the section number, the titling of the class. Right off the bat, you can see that there's two links here. These two links open up into two little videos that were presented by the college. I have been noticing that HEC's loading a little bit slowly today, so bear with me with that. But you can see it's here. This is just a general idea of what Canvas is about, how to approach Canvas, but it's nicely done by the college. There you go. So when you have a chance, watch this. And you're not going to be tested on this. It's just for you, your own vacation, that kind of idea. The other one is resources for Canvas, so same idea. There you go. And another video for your watch. Again, this is also for your own edification, so you won't be tested on this, but it's hopefully meant to help you navigate Canvas. For me, more specifically, you can see, of course, what I'm suggesting you start right away with. So first off, I note, watch the orientation video. Then I note, watch the orientation video. And I meant that seriously. There's been many cases where I'm weeks into a course, even a month or more into a course, and a student asks me a question that's either right there in the syllabus or fully explained in the orientation video. And so I have this discussion with a student, and it very commonly comes to light, oh yeah, I never watched the orientation video. Don't do that, especially in an online class when we're not there with you. This is a courtesy to you to have this video. So I've taken quite a bit of time to get this ready so that you can more easily navigate a course. But if you don't even read the main page, you don't even watch the orientation video, that could be a little bit of a problem. So make sure you do that. Watch it twice, watch it 3 times. I don't care, but make sure you watch it and digest it. When you're done with that, of course, read over your syllabus. Now I'm going to go over the syllabus with you in the orientation video, but on your own, even after I've gone over it, read it. And as I'm noting to you, read it thoroughly, which means carefully and completely. I also note to check the announcement page. You can see it right here. There's your announcements link. I've already got several announcements for you. And like I said, things have been loading slowly, so it just happens. Bear with the internet. So your first class session, there's your orientation video. I'll show you in the syllabus. You have to send me an email saying you want to remain in the course. The reason for these, along with this little quiz you're going to do for me, is primarily because this isn't an on-campus class. We have to show participation. So this is one way we can do that. You're mandated to do participation. So this is one of the ways we're getting you to engage in the course as much as you can, which should lead to student success. So with the first class session, of course, you can start there. Pretty much it's a summary of what I'm doing in this orientation video. That doesn't excuse not watching the video. You should do so. But again, it runs through everything. And again, yes, it's long, but it has to be, including, again, links to the video will be in your announcements as well. So let's go back to that. Of course, the orientation video announcement will have a link to the orientation video. So again, take a look on that. And then, of course, the email I just noted to you, the request to stay in class, it's just a reminder to do that. And I will also show you that when I go through the syllabus. So as it's noting here in the introductory page, again, check your announcements, check it regularly, means daily, mind you, including weekends. Now, a couple of notes here. I've been teaching at college for decades now, and I've been teaching at HEC for, oh my gosh, it's like 18 years now. And it's been apparent to me, unlike when I teach perhaps at university, that I get students coming into community college thinking it's something like an in-between high school and college. You know, I'm not quite at university, but I'm not at high school. So it's just like a grade 13. That's not true. There is absolutely no such thing as grade 13 in the United States. You are in full-fledged college. So this class, or when I teach a majors course, community colleges are designed to give you the exact same kind of class, including rigor, that you get university. The only difference with a community college course is that we cannot teach, community college generally, I should say, is that we cannot teach upper division, nor can we teach graduate school. We teach generally freshman, sophomore level. Now, there are community colleges that are beginning to approach teaching 4-year. When they do offer bachelor's, it's not uncommon for that community college to no longer call itself that. Then they'll call themselves just a state college, or they might move into another name. You just kind of drop the community college. They drop a junior college kind of idea. So that's our difference. But when it comes to the course itself, it should be identical to university. So when I teach at USF, I don't change how I teach. I certainly don't water down a course, but I get these students coming in thinking, well, it's that in-between idea. So one of the things that's happened, I have students say, well, this is for example, traditional class. This is a Monday, Wednesday class. So I should only have to check announcements on Monday, Wednesday. That is utterly ridiculous and is not how college works. Things happen all the time. Things happen on weekends, especially like with an online class. Who knows? Maybe there's a technical issue that's come up. Maybe Canvas is down. Who knows? Something has happened and I have to communicate with you. And so if you're having a test on a Monday and something has now happened on a Saturday, I'm going to put out an announcement probably on a Saturday, or if Canvas went down and it's affecting something, maybe on Sunday when it comes back up, you got to check those announcements. You got to know what's going on. So you need to check it regularly. You should check it for every class every day, which means go to that class and see what's going on. Beyond that, again, here's your files link. You can see it's right over here, files. There have a lot of stuff on their files link because, of course, again, this is all online. And then, of course, familiarize yourself, I get the word out, with the online materials, including Macmillan links. You can see Macmillan Higher Ed here. So if you purchase the ebook, which means you went to the Del Mabry campus and you purchased the access code to access the ebook, that does not come from professors. You must get that through either the publisher directly or, generally speaking, through the actual bookstore. When you access the material, it'll be through this link. And I should note now, any technical issues that crop up, I cannot help you. If you're having a Canvas technical issue, over here, scroll down a bit. Use the right bar, scroll down right there. That would link you to Canvas technical support. If you're having an issue with Macmillan, like with the book, you've got to go to the publisher and speak to them directly. I cannot help you with that. But I get it all the time. I bought the access code, but I can't log in. Okay, did you talk to the publisher? No, I haven't done that. Well, you have to do that. There's nothing I can do as an HEC employee to go in and deal with anything administrative, anything tech support at HEC, Canvas issues, and as I just noted, of course, with your publisher. And then, of course, you can ask me questions. I certainly recommend you ask them right away. I had a student last semester, it was in an online zoology class. I was having trouble with the labs, but they didn't bother to ask me any questions until like the day before the final. And they were freaking, in the finals, maybe the first exam, and they were freaking out. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to approach things. They don't know how to find anything. Of course, I don't even think they watched the orientation video when I discussed it with them, but waiting, this is a traditional class. So it was like 4 weeks into the course. That's way too long, especially the day before the first exam. It's way too long. So ask me questions. Now, bear in mind, I have hundreds of students usually. It's not unusual at all. So when it comes to emails, right here, I'm even noting, remember, in the United States, it is considered email protocol to wait at least 24 to 48 hours before you get a response, not 24 to 48 minutes, but I've had that before. So like in the spring, I come back after a class and there's an email waiting. So, I emailed you 2 hours ago, where you been? Well, first off, it's none of your business where I've been. Second, I was in class. This is the first time I've had to check my email. And even then, you're lucky it was only 2 hours. Some classes, some days, I've got back-to-back classes, especially when I do labs. I might not even sit down until 5 hours in to the first day there. It's 5 hours in, I can finally check email. That's where I've been. So people don't seem to get that. This is not a beck and call situation. I've got hundreds of students to deal with, plus administrative issues, plus faculty issues, plus committee issues, plus stuff outside of campus. We have to do like community service. There's a ton of stuff we're doing, which means it takes time to get to everything. 24 to 48 hours. And of course, I noted to you, that's Monday through Friday. Absolutely. Saturday and Sunday, yeah, maybe it'll surprise you, but we've got something of a life. I've got a family. I've got to deal with them too. So that typically happens on the weekend. So if you send me a message on a Friday, I might not even see it until Monday. Again, that's still within the 24 to 48 hours, mind you, but give me time to get back to you. Now, if I see it, and certainly if it's an emergency, I'll try to deal with it as soon as I can. But again, time. Now, in my syllabus, you'll also see my office hours. You'll see my telephone number, HCC. I'm teaching online over the summer, so do not expect to find me on campus. You can't say, well, I came up to campus, I couldn't find you. Yeah, probably not. Or I left a phone message for you at Dale Mabry campus. Well, guess what? Between May and August, I probably will not walk into my office. So I won't even get the phone message until August. So again, you got to think your way through this. But while I'm mentioning it, I get students all the time that don't do this and they get really grumpy really fast. Don't do that. It's not appropriate. I will help you out as much as I can and as I appropriately can. Okay, so with all that in mind, just general, here's the course. There's your announcements. Let's go to the files link. All right, so there's a lot going on here. One of the main reasons, this isn't just an online class. This is a C course. You can see it right there, EVR 1001C. The C means combination lecture lab. You're in essence taking two classes in one. You're taking a lecture class and you're taking a lab class. Now, does this fulfill your lab requirement? Don't know, because that depends on your degree, the program you're in, what your university later on wants. Even as HCC, when you look at this is what you have to do to graduate, make sure this combination lecture lab is what you need to graduate. I've got no control over that. But for how this course is designed at HCC, not from me, just from how HCC does this, C is combination lecture lab. So you have no separate lab to go to, no separate time for labs. That also means your exam will have both lecture and lab questions, which is why there's so much here. Syllabus is just that, lectures are just that. I'll come back to this in a minute, but here's your lab stuff. So there's a lot happening here. Let's start for the moment with your syllabus. So click on that link. There's your syllabus. Now I've encoded everything in PDF. So you should have no problem opening this in any major operating system. So whether it's Windows or Mac OS or Linux, it should open up. I get questions, well, I don't have Adobe. Yes, you do. It's free. Download it. I'm not asking you to pay you anything. You just have to be able to open the PDF. So there it is. Open it up, and there you go. Okay, so first and foremost, you can see my contact information. Yes, here's my HCC office. Again, I will not be there this summer. There's my phone number. Again, you're welcome to try, but unless I just happen to walk in for some reason, I'm not planning on doing so, you're not going to catch me. So I recommend you email me. Or you can set up a Teams appointment. I'll come back to that too. And of course, office hours. It's down below. I have an entire section on office hours. But bear in mind how HCC does office hours over the summer is that there are no office hours over the summer. That's how HCC does it. They don't have you set aside like Mondays are from 2 to 3 p.m. They don't do that. So, okay, I'm just following what HCC does. So again, I'll show you that when I get down to that section. The course intended outcomes. Notice there are a lot of them here. These course intended outcomes are what students are supposed to do in the term for that class. These are not set up by any one faculty member. So I didn't go through your textbook and say, this is what I want you to do. That's not what I did. This is set up by a committee. So a group of faculty members came together and said, for this class, this is what we feel the students should do, which includes also then the topics that should be covered. Great. It's a lot. Again, I've got no control over that. We just have to deal with this. Now, one way I've dealt with this, your textbook. I'll show you this when we get to it. It's heavily edited, not the book itself, but the notes posted online for you. I'll show you the files where they're found. I'll show you what they look like. These posted lecture notes, along with your labs, will be what's on your exam. Now, that being said, do you need to buy a book? Yeah. Do you need to read the chapters? Yeah, for two reasons. Your homework comes out of your textbook. And second with that, I don't have time when I'm lecturing. There's no lectures obviously in this course, but when I'm lecturing, I don't have time to talk about everything. So to keep parity with the lecture classes, I then pull out all the stuff out of the chapters that I don't have time to talk about. They're not really included in these course intended outcomes, which means I make them extra credit. So expect to see some extra credit on your exams. That'll come out of your readings. So it's very much to your advantage to read the chapters, then focus on my PowerPoint notes. And then when you're comfortable with both of those, then do the homework at the back of the chapters. All right, now, it's a long syllabus, 16 pages. It's not the longest I've seen, mind you. When I got to graduate school, I think the longest I saw was, I don't know, maybe 35-page syllabus, something like that. It was a long syllabus. Okay, I never really wanted to do this, but when we got transitioned from face-to-face traditional into online, everybody got tossed into that. Welcome to the COVID world we now live in. And as we all got tossed into that, we just had a race to teach online. I had never taught an online class until everything shut down, and now there was nothing but online. And so as we got tossed into this, okay, I thought, well, like every faculty member that's never taught online, we're going to do our best. Yeah, it's going to be a growing process, a learning curve. Fine. But I've been using something like a 5-page syllabus for many years. Now, granted, I have to adjust them every semester, page number changes, books changes, whatever it is. But, it roughly stayed about 5 pages. And so never got any real pushback on that. Never had any students that complained about it. So fine. I took that syllabus and used it online. Oh yeah, that didn't go over as well as I would have liked for it to gone over. And the biggest concern from students I was getting was it's not thorough enough. It's not detailed enough. You're not with us. You can't ask you questions easy enough. We can send you emails. It's kind of piecemeal. You send an email, I reply. It's just not what they wanted. So they felt it was too disjointed. So the biggest request I got was, please make your syllabus thorough. Righto. So I sat down and I thought, all right, if I was going to give a lecture on the first day to go over a syllabus, what are the things I'm going to talk about? Which is kind of what this orientation video is. Had you come to a traditional class with me on the first day of class, I would have gone over the syllabus. And so I said, right, here's what I would have talked about. And I plopped it into a syllabus. Oh my goodness gracious. It came out to be about 15 pages. Yours ended up being 16. It's thorough. Interestingly enough, some of the pushback I got after that was too thorough. Yeah, but I'm not going to pull back from that. I'd rather it be thorough and everything be in there than to you wonder, well, I don't know what to do because you didn't say it. Okay, so it's here. This requires you then to sit down and read your syllabus, not skim it, not get a general idea, to actually read it, to digest it. What did I say at the beginning of this little orientation video? To completely and thoroughly read your syllabus. I meant it. And to help you out, not just to read it, but later on, oh gosh, there's so much in the syllabus. I don't remember what he wants for examinations. Great, fine. There's examinations right there. Flip over to page 9, read again on examinations. I put in a table of contents to help you. You cannot come to me and say, I didn't know about this. I didn't know what to do. You never said, oh yes, I did. It's right there in the syllabus. I had a student complaining recently about, well, his exams are too long, too many slides. Really? It's all in your syllabus. I said it on day 1. Day 1, just like this class. I'll show it. It's in there. I'll show it to you. So that's not a legitimate criticism. If you didn't like it, you shouldn't stay in the class. If you agree to stay in the course, you're agreeing with the syllabus. I had a student last semester, got really grumpy about the Gordon rule. Pretty much the day before, well, it was a couple of days before it was due. I don't know, 4 or 5 days before it was due, whatever it was. Really angry. Now I gave the students, the entire class, like 2.5 months to do their Gordon rule. So here's a student waiting till the very last second. And man, were they grumpy about it. I don't think we should do this. I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should do this. It's all in your syllabus. One of the things they complained about was that, well, I've got 3 different classes with papers I have to write. I shouldn't have to write that many papers. That is not how college works. They agreed at the beginning of the semester to take those classes, which means they agreed for all of those classes with the syllabus. Here's what's going to be in the course. You agree to it. You've got to stick to it, which is why I have a thorough syllabus. It then behooves you right now, first day of class, to read your syllabus. I'm sorry it might take you a half hour to read this because there's a lot here. Another reason for the orientation video. But do it, because this is what's going to come your way in this course. And I really would like this class to be enjoyable for you. Environmental science has always been an important topic, and it certainly is right now in today's world. So this is a very important course, perhaps for your just everyday life. What's happening out there? How does that affect me? How does it affect my family? How does it affect my little kitty cat that just jumped off my desk? They have to be here, by the way, for what it's worth, in case he hops up later. When I started teaching online, I found out that if I close my door while doing lectures or an orientation video, that's not going to go well with my cats. They want to be in the room too. Okay, so please forgive me if a cat suddenly jumps up and says hi. But it's important. I'm sure you love your cats and dogs and horses and birds. I want them to have a happy life too. That environment affects them in every way, not everything from just air quality. What about water quality? You ever think what comes out of your sink? Florida just got rated as one of the worst places to drink tap water. Worst places. It's not that the state is doing anything wrong. It's just welcome to Florida. It's an environmental issue. Okay. Does that really mean that bottled water is better? Oh, you could do that for your corporal, by the way. Okay. How about air quality? How about air quality in your house? How about air quality in your car? Do you smoke? Should you smoke in your house? You know, all these things affect pollution. Pollution is anything that degrades the environment, anything. Heat pollution, sound pollution, light pollution, obviously particulate pollution, whatever it is. Sure. So again, it's a really apropos class. So make sure you're okay with all this. You're okay with what you're getting into. So it's all here. Now, some of this may not directly relate to you. For example, COVID policy. Why in the world does he have a COVID policy for an online class? Well, I don't know where you're taking the class. Just because it's online, you can do it anywhere. Maybe you're at the campus. And if you're at the campus, there are rules to follow. Now, granted, COVID's a very interesting game. So since again, this is just the table of contents, I'm going to go over this completely. Let's just start there. So I don't know, maybe 3 semesters ago, 4 now, maybe. COVID's been here since what, late 2019, early 2020. They just said, here, the college, HEC said, put this in your syllabus. Great, I put in my syllabus. I changed nothing. Exactly what the college wanted. Now, middle of last semester, they relaxed some of this, like mask mandates. They have to follow the CDC and the state, sure. Now, as a scientist, if I may, because, you know, I read first top journals. I read journals that are published. These are primary sources, first sources. I don't worry about what any news source is telling me. I go and read the journals myself. And then I make decisions based on that. And I'm making decisions for myself, and I'll communicate it to my wife. She also can read the journals if she wanted to, but she prefers I read it, so okay. And I make these decisions. Say, well, here's what's going on. Here's what I'm going to do for myself. And so with that, the state might say do this, but reality might be something else. And one thing we're seeing is that COVID is not going away. It's gonna wax and wane. And with that, right now, there's already a lot of flares going up out there. Resurgence going up. Even hospitalizations are going up right now. So I still wear a mask when I'm at the college. A lot of people do. So I still have the safety protocols in the syllabus. And with that, again, things like if you're sick, don't come to class. That sort of idea. Now, again, it's an online class. There is no class to come to. But hey, if you're doing this at the Mabry campus and you're not feeling well, maybe don't come in that day. Be nice to yourself and your colleagues. You need rest. You need to get healthy. There's your wearing of masks. It's still expected we wear them, although there's not a mask mandate anymore. A lot of them do. A lot of us still do. Another reason why I wear a mask is not just to keep myself safe, not just to keep others safe. I'm trying to keep my wife safe too. My wife has cancer. I'm not playing any games. I still wear a mask when I go out in town too. I don't play any games. Again, because I actually read the science. I'm not playing any games. Washing your hands. This always blew my mind. Why did they have to even tell people to do this, let alone during COVID? Why aren't you washing your hands? It's one of the simplest things you can do and help keep yourself and others safe. I'll leave it to you, but hey. Now this one is actually wrong. Nothing against HCC, it's actually wrong. It should be 70% or greater alcohol to have a chance of killing off that stuff. But still, hey, HCC did a good job at least putting something in. So it's here more out of, this is still technically college policy. Again, they relaxed the mask mandate a bit. But I don't know where you're doing this. I don't know where you're watching these videos whenever I have them like this. I don't know where you're doing your homework. So because you might be on campus, I'd like you to keep it in. Rather, with that being said, again, this is not directly for you. There's no class for us to actually have, not like DLive, where I have these Monday, Wednesday at 2 p.m. we have a lecture. So you don't need to meet like that. The only time you would be meeting for anything, of course, is your test, and I'll come to that soon enough. But again, I don't know where you are doing this. So because of that, maybe you're on campus. Maybe you're in the social science building, in the hallway, one of those comfy seats. There are classes all around you. So because of that, this is pretty much etiquette at a college campus is pretty much what this is. And so it just kind of goes through that. When you're in a class, do these things. Now, notice they're talking about putting your stuff away and don't be noisy and don't be playing games in the class. Yeah, of course, it doesn't directly apply to an online course, but it applies to everything else going on at HCC. So again, I put it here just for you to read. It's useful to you in regards to being on campus. Again, for our class, doesn't really apply, but I wanted to help you out as much as I could. All right, so where things really begin to apply is right here. All right, so textbooks. Yes, you must get your book. Now, remember, as I mentioned a moment ago, I test out of my posted lecture notes as well as your labs. But you still need your book for two things. You need to read those chapters. Read the chapters, then go to the posted notes, and of course, your homework is the end of the chapter. So you need your book. The extra credit will come out of the parts in your book that aren't in your notes. You need your book. You can either purchase it at the Mabry campus of HCC, or you can get the ebook, which can also be purchased at the Mabry campus of HCC. I cannot help you with either of those. Now, with that, you also need the lab manual. Hopefully this highlights nicely. I have the name here, of course. It's Mr. Klee's lab manual. Hopefully you can see this. I hope you can. One thing about Teams that's unique, they don't give me a little window. I can't see me. So I don't know how well this is highlighting. Hopefully you can see it. I'll find out later after I see the video if you can see it. They change the color from time to time. It's the title. Environmental Science Lab Manual for EVR 1001C by Thomas Klee. Mr. Klee typically has two things in the bookstore, the lab manual and his lecture notes. You do not need his lecture notes. You have my lecture notes, but you need his lab manual. And we will use this. We're going to use quite a bit of this. Doesn't cost much. The lab manual last time I looked was like $3. It's a well-used $3, but you got to get that. And I'll come back to how to use the lab material momentarily. But you got to get the book, you got to get the lab manual. And then, of course, as I was noting, even here, I left it in, read your book before you go to the PowerPoint notes. Here I was saying before you come to class, but I was kind of equating class with doing the work. This is all done by you. You chose to do a fully online class. I kind of prefer the D-Live-C. I don't mind doing D-Lon, but I still like the interaction, at least in the D-Live-Cs. Even though it's online, you could be at home, you could be somewhere else doing the class. I don't care. I'm still here with you. I'm still giving the lectures. I'm still showing you videos. You can still ask me real-time questions. I really think the D-Live-Cs have a very significant place. But again, I don't know where you're doing the D-Lon stuff. So read the material, then go again to your posted lecture notes, and of course the labs, which means read the labs before you try them, that kind of idea. Attendance. Now, again, this is an online course. So it's easy for D-Live-C, even in traditional, you come to class or you don't. Canvas, Teams, they take rosters, they take attendance. So I don't even have to worry about that. It's kind of nice. But as I noted, this is fully online. So HCC still requires you to have participation. And in fact, if I understand correctly, that came from the state. Fine. They're trying to help you with student success. Great. So first thing I asked was, well, wait a minute, how in the world do you do that in a D-Lon class? The only way I could do it really was exams. But yeah, we have a set day for exams outside of that. Okay, so there are a few things that we structured in. Notice, you will be taking this extra credit quiz on the syllabus. Extra credit does not mean optional. Now, I just made it extra credit to be nice to you. As long as you read your syllabus once or twice, you're good. I'm not looking in any way for the most obscure thing in the world. No. Just read it over, have a general idea what's going on. Remember, throughout the semester, you can always refer back to your syllabus if you have a question. Always do that, by the way. If you don't know when an exam is, don't just send off an email. We've got hundreds of students. It's going to take time to get back to you. If you don't know how to do a Gordon rule, don't say, well, I don't understand how to do the Gordon rule. Did you read your syllabus? Oh, yeah, I did back on the first day. Reread it. Doesn't matter you're 2 months in. Reread it. It saves you time. It saves your faculty members time. It just saves a whole lot of time all the way around. So that's what this is about. This is meant to encourage you to read your syllabus. And hey, it's extra credit. Why not? Start out with a few free points. There we go. Now, notice that's on the 23rd of this month. So I'm giving you about a week to get that done. Okay? Meaning read the syllabus. And then on the 23rd, I'm going to open up the quiz. That's how I meant that. on the 25th. And this is saying, notice the syllabus quiz is on the 23rd. The email from you is by the 25th. You also need to send me an email saying, yes, I want to stay in the class. Between both of those, we're showing that you know how to access the computer. Send us emails. If I don't get these from you, you will be deregistered. That goes into a WN. That is the only time faculty members can withdraw or drop a student, a WN. On Fridays, you're going to get a discussion put onto Canvas. You're required to chat. I am not looking for correct information. I'm not looking for you get the science, you can school everybody about it. No. This is a discussion. I'm not looking even for me to really chime in. I will, certainly when I have to. I'm going to present a topic. And the idea is to help you focus a bit on subjects, but also talk to each other, help each other, present a viewpoint. And your colleagues, their job is to constructively talk about your viewpoint. Not, I don't agree, or that's a bunch of hooey. No. Talk about it. And I've tried to make them as interesting as I can. It's still science, but I'm trying. And those will happen on Friday. I've got a section in here about discussions. Don't worry, we'll get to that. Of course, you're going to submit homework. It's due on the day of the test. I'll get to that. You have a Gordon rule. It's required. HCC decided that environmental science is a Gordon rule class. That's not by me. The college decided that. And of course, you have exams. Between all of that, yeah, you're showing attendance. We're good. Now, as I just noted, the WN grades draw non-attendance, what it means. Unlike USF that has a first day drop policy, it means just that. If you do not attend on the first day, you are automatically dropped. Right? We have a WN. We have a set time. It's like by the end of the first week, because of summer, it goes fast. In the fall and spring, it's a little bit longer, but it's pretty quick in the summer. But if these aren't done quickly, then we must withdraw you. That's the idea. So you have to show some sort of attendance, some sort of participation, or we are required to go in and withdraw you. That's simple. But if you've done anything, if you've sent me a quiz, you did the quiz, you sent me the email, you submitted a homework, you submitted a Gordon rule, you did even one exam out of our 3, you did anything, any one of these things, you will not be dropped. Now, you got to bear that in mind. Happens every semester. Student takes exam 1, disappears. I taught online environmental science last semester. I taught online zoology last semester. Several students did that. There's nothing I can do for you. If you've taken one test, out of 3, you're probably going to fail the class. And bear that in mind. You have every right to fail a class. The only thing you've done is you paid your money to be able to take the course, to sit in that chair, whichever chair it is, wherever you are, and take the class. That's it. You do not buy a grade. There is no such thing as that. There is no such thing as community college being easier than anything else. No, none of that exists. So if you haven't done these, if you don't do the homework, if you don't do the exams, you're going to fail. It's that simple. So make sure you do your job correctly. You guys are adults, you're college students, or college students. Do your job right. This isn't high school anymore, folks. All right, continuing on. So office hours, as I noted, HCC does it this way. Over the summer, it's by appointment only. There's no set time for office hours, just that simple. So there's really 2 ways, and it's generally like this for an online anyhow, to meet with me. Send me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, usually within that 24 to 48 hours. If it's beyond 48 hours, try again. It happens all the time. I don't get an email. Sorry, I never got it. Try again. And then second, you can set up a Teams appointment. Now, in the fall and spring, and I'm on campus, yeah, if you want to, you could come to my on-campus office hours. Sure, of course you're welcome to do that. But since this is an online course and I'm not there over the summer, yeah, that option's not option there. Now, with Teams appointment, you can schedule one. Sure, no, why not? You have to send me an email. We have to work out a time, and then we'll sit down and have a Teams appointment. Now, if you've never done a Teams appointment, here is a video to show you how to sign up for Teams. Use it. They're great. And we can do anything in that appointment. We can go over the material. You can ask questions. You can go over the Gordon rule. By the way, with the Gordon rule, we're not supposed to help you with the English. That's not how it works. There is a writing center at HCC. You're supposed to go to the writing center at HCC to get any help with writing it. They're schooled in English. I'm not an English professor. So you're supposed to send us the final work. But if you have questions on, what I have in the syllabus, or is this an appropriate topic? Yeah, fire away. It's fine. And send me that appointment. We can go over that in Teams. No worries. Or maybe you want to go over exam. Something you should do. Set up a Teams appointment. We can go over your test. You just let me know. We'll work out that time. Now, note this one. If you're having a lot of trouble with a subject matter, it happens. I see this more in my majors courses and my non-majors. It kind of makes sense. The majors classes are really heavy, just kind of how it is in college. And so I'll get people coming up there that have like no bio background, no science background, or they took a bio class, 10 years ago. Welcome to majors bio. And so they need a lot of extra help. But bear in mind, we are not tutors. Office hours are not study halls. There's no such thing as study hall in college. So I had one student last semester. They had the idea that we should be on call for them whenever they wanted a session. That is not how college works. If you need that much help, we have an academic success center where you can schedule a tutor. Great, use it. I'm happy to help you, but within reason. I've got hundreds of students. I can't be a tutor for all these students. It's not my job. It's not part of my job. That's why they have an academic success center. That's why they have tutors, formal tutors, people whose job it is to be at the Del Mabry campus, meet with you on a Monday at 3 p.m. from 3 to 4 p.m. and do nothing but go over biology. That's their job. With me, I'm here to help you. You have some questions? Great. You read the chapter, you read the notes, you don't get question number 5 in the homework, fire away. Or, hey, I read the book, I read the notes, I don't quite get what mitosis is. Can you help me with that one? Sure, why not? Set that Teams appointment. Sure, let's talk about that. But if you want to go over the entire frickin' chapter, or you don't get anything in this whole unit, and we just start on square one, that's what a tutor's for. It's free, by the way. Go and sign up for them. So make sure, again, you understand how college works. There's no grade 13. Email messages. I know I talked about generally with this, but one thing I do request, when you send me an email, please tell me who you are. I mean that seriously. I've got hundreds of students, again, not uncommon. Summer is a bit quieter, but a lot of students. And it's not unusual. They get people with the exact same name, like Bob P. Smith. I mean that seriously. So I've got 3 of them in one semester. Never met them because they're online. I got 3 of them. So I got a message from Bob Smith, who, by the way, I get this all the time too. Subject line says Bob Smith. Okay, so you're the subject. Okay. So I don't even know what the topic's about. And in the body of the email, they say, what did we do today? I have no idea. I don't know who you are. I don't know what class you're in. I don't know what subject you're talking about. I have no idea. So after that 24 to 40 hours, I finally have a chance to get your email. I have to send a reply back saying, well, who are you? Tell you what, 9 times out of 10, I never get a reply email saying who they are. So you both wasted time. You wasted time sending me an email saying, what do you do? I wasted time replying saying, I don't know, who are you? Because I never got a reply to that. But let's take the case I actually get a reply email. Oh, yeah. I'm Bob P. Smith in your DLon Environmental Science. Great. That means on email number 4, I'm finally able to answer the question you asked in the first email. What did we do today? 4 emails to finally get to that question. What a colossal waste of time for us both. All you need to do is take 10 seconds of your life and say, I'm Bob P. Smith, your DLon Environmental Science. Can you help me out with this? Great. Here's what we're up to, Bob. Of course, Mr. Smith. No worries at all. Please take a second. Let me know who you are. And then, of course, I reminded you on the protocol in that 24 to 48 hours. Reiterate that just to make sure you know about it. That's sort of idea. Lab session. Yeah. Okay. So remember, this is a combination lecture lab class. So in that class, then we have to do both. A lecture is easy. You have your book, post-it notes, read it, ask me questions, that kind of idea. Go to your tutor if you want, that kind of idea. For the labs, 2 things. When we get to the end of the syllabus, you'll see the tentative schedule. And in that tentative schedule, I have 2 main things for you. Labs, and then, of course, test days. Now, the dates I have for the labs are suggestions on when you should do them. I'm trying to space things out so you don't have like everything bulked up right at the end, right before an exam. But as I was mentioning, and I'll get to in a minute with homework again, all your homework, which includes your labs, are due on the day of the exam. So if we're having an exam on June 21st, you don't have to do any of them until June 20th because everything's due on the 21st. I don't recommend that though. So I space it out for you by giving you dates in your syllabus. So that's 1, be aware of when things are happening. And 2, where you find your labs. Now 1, you have that lab manual. Here's again that card. Go and buy the lab manual from the H.C. Del Mabry bookstore. That's 1. And then second, notice that I'm talking about this additional labs folder. Okay, so let's go back to our Files tab for a second. Just go to Files generally so you can see everything. All right, notice I have this here, additional labs. Some of the labs in your lab manual, everything that's in the lab manual is sufficient. You have everything you need, all the information's there. You can just read the lab itself, do the work. It's pretty direct. Sometimes that's not true. These labs were designed for on campus, and it was really challenging to redesign on campus for off campus, meaning for something like online. Some of the labs, no worries. They were a direct translation. Others, no. So even on those labs in traditional, I'd have to come in front of the class on the first day. I would do this anyhow, but on a direct lab, I'd just give a few tidbits, know this, know this, know this, but you read before you came to class, no worries, let's get to the lab. And then I would float around and I would answer questions as you do the lab, the kind of idea. I don't like stand behind a podium, man. Silly. But some labs are really complex, and even on campus, I'd have to really explain. There's one lab particularly, it's like an hour lecture before you start the lab because there's so much to talk about. Well, that's on campus. If I have to give an hour lecture before an on-campus lab, what the heck do I do for an off-campus one? Ooh. So for some of these, they need a lot of extra help. That's where these additional files come in. So notice the first one, photosynthesis. Now, this first lab actually didn't need this. I only posted it for one main reason. Because for this lab, there are chances that the lab manual may not be sufficient. There are not enough copies of it at the Maybury campus at the start of a semester. That does happen. So that becomes complicating. When are they going to get around the bookstore to getting more copies in, that kind of idea? So as a courtesy to you, I asked the department, can I have a few of these that I can post, a few pages I could post in the first lab pretty much, put it on Canvas so that my students have this when they need it. And I said, oh yeah, no worries, please feel free. Okay, so that's what I did. Now with that, I also stuck this, a virtual lab one, just to kind of help out. So let's open this up. Okay, so just to kind of help out, this is kind of showing you what's going to be in a lot of these additional files. Hang on, Canvas is being a bit fussy at the moment. 1 second. Okay, Canvas, not Canvas, excuse me, this is Teams. Teams has this habit of putting a bar right at the top of the screen. I don't know if you can see it, but it covers up all my tabs, and I have to get it off the screen. It's really tough to get off the screen. So here's Virtual Lab 1, and I'm giving more explanation. Everything you need is lab, and I'm giving more explanation. But one thing I liked to do is I threw up this little like virtual showing of the lab. And so had you come into class that day, this is actually what you would have done. It's a super exciting lab. You have a beaker and this sprig of Elodea. It's a freshwater plant. A light source, we're replicating photosynthesis. And of course, you want to know the temperature gauge. Temperature affects dissolved oxygen, affects photosynthesis, that kind of idea. So for example, notice lumens are set at 100, so it's somewhat bright. You can set it all the way down to 0. The intensity, of course, lamps off, and up to 3000 is super bright lamp, that kind of idea. Put it back to 100, 2000. Temperature, that's pretty chilly. Let's put it towards room temperature. All right. And then I would say, all right, on a shaded like experiment, here's what happens. And on a non-shaded, here's what happens. This is an example of non-shaded. So in the lab manual, when you get to the lab, you'll see you would have like 60 seconds. You would time how many bubbles you get. So here you go. There's bubble 1, bubble 2, bubble 3, bubble 4, bubble 5, almost, oh, there it goes. Okay, bubble 5 and so forth. You would do this for 60 seconds and see how many bubbles you get. But since you're not at campus with me, I thought I would put this little video up, this little interactive GIF up for you to play with. So because I had to have a place to put it, I made this little like additional note for you to put on Canvas. It's in the additional files folder. And I gave you what's called canned data. Canned, meaning fake data, because you're not actually there on campus collecting data, but you need data to actually answer the questions that would be in the lab manual. So with these pages that are up there, page 1, let's go and take a look at that. So this would be like background information on, excuse me, on photosynthesis, that kind of idea. This page 2, a little more background information, and this will actually show you the like materials you would have used had you been on the campus. Materials are actually there. There's your procedure. Of course, you're not on campus, you're not doing that. And then of course 3 is going to be your data collection and answer question page. And so there you go. And so this one's most salient. these are your questions. These are your homework. Any questions you have in or at the end of a lab is part of your homework. So there you go. Now notice right here, it's asking for you to have the data. Well, you're not on campus. So because you're not on campus, I had to give that to you. Hence the fake data. Let me go just get rid of this. Hence the fake data. Hang on. Canvas is doing it again. Come on, teams. Hang on, just gotta wait for that bar to go away. It's a really unique bar. It should go away in 5 to 10 seconds of me not doing anything, but it's kind of unique. Come on, go away. Very annoying. I actually read some blogs about it, and a lot of people are not happy with that bar, but there's nothing you can do. It's there. So let's go back to that virtual lab. There it is. This is the fake data that you'll use on this data sheet. That's the last page of your photosynthesis lab. Now, again, I posted all this one for you. You didn't need any additional files for lab 1. I only did that as a courtesy. It allowed me to throw in that GIF so you can see bubbles in that sort of simulation. And also, just in case the Del Mar campus in the bookstore doesn't happen to have a lab manual when you have to do the first lab. But this is the kind of thing that you're going to need. So let's go back to that files folder. What's this? Okay, so that's lab 1. Now notice lab 2 is not listed here. Lab 2 didn't need it. So you always start with the lab manual, the one you bought at the bookstore, read that lab, and then you check the additional labs folder to see if anything's there. You don't see anything for lab 2, you didn't need it. Lab 3 needed it. Lab 4 needed it. Lab 6 needed it. Lab 7 needed it. Now, I'll show you in the tentative schedule, a couple of the labs say handout, meaning they're not found in the lab manual. That's going to be things like your feeding niches and identification of rocks. So let's look at that one. This is a doozy of a lab. Now, I don't mean that it's hard. It's just like a lot going on. I love the lab. My bachelor's and master's with biology, but when I transferred into my doctorate, I went to geology. Huge fan of rocks. For me, I was doing more planetary geology. I'm really into astrobiology, astrobotany, astronomy generally, and biology easily ties into that. So I got really invested into geology. So because it's environmental science and we're dealing with the context, which is the Earth, that's why we have geology in this course. You'll see in your textbook, all that kind of idea. So this is the handout I would have given you had you been at the Del Mar campus. It's all here, everything you would have had. Now, that's a lot to read on your own. So because of that, I also put up this, a virtual lab for you, an addendum. And what I did is I sat down and I went through that handout section by section, and I threw everything into this. Every definition I could think of, every video I thought you might need, every scale, that's just like a page to look at. I did all of it. Let's just quickly, why not, take a look at this one. Right? Hopefully the link still works. And they break sometimes, let me know. So here's a video on the hardness, which means just that. Something you would have done in lab. You would be testing this.
One of the factors used to identify minerals is their hardness.
So again, it's all here for you.
Fluoride.
These are some of the things you would have done on campus. I was actually toying with the idea of having you buy a rock kit and have these rocks at home to play with. They'd be yours by that point, of course, and do some of these tests on your own. But the kits are very expensive, and I really didn't want you paying any more money than you need to. I mean, this would have cost you like $80 for a kit, and that's a lot of money. And in my world, at least, that's a lot of money. So I like to not to do that. I like to do everything virtually for you. So it's all here for you, step by step by step through that handout. There's a lot here, yes, but I'm trying to be as thorough as I can, as explicit as I can, so you understand. And I'll soon say, "Oh, I didn't understand any of it." Okay, that's when you make a Teams appointment. Let's talk about the lab. You can also go to a tutor. They have geology tutors often, but it's all here for you. And then at the end of these labs, you have questions. So the questions for this lab are at the end of it, way down at the end. And here, you'll be identifying some specimens for me. So everything's there for you. Everything you're going to need. The handout's there. The videos are there. The addendum's there. It's all there. Let me get rid of these things. That's the additional files folder. Don't need that anymore as well. Okay, that's an additional lab folder. So right there. So files and additional labs. Always start again with your lab manual, the one you bought at the bookstore. Read that lab and then check the additional labs, that file, in case something's there. That's what this is saying. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. The posted files. All right, so let's go back to that. This is much more direct. So files, and right there, the lecture notes. That's what that's talking about. So I do this for my on-campus classes as well. It's pretty typical now to get notes from an author. Very thankful. It is a full-time job in itself to write notes. It's a lot of work. There's just so much information, especially in something like biology, which is so voluminous. My job then is to get these notes and then go through them from the author and do two things. Take out the stuff that do not follow the course intended outcomes, the extra stuff in the chapters you don't need to worry about. And then look for errors. There's always errors. So these notes, whenever you have them, let's just open the first chapter for you. Now notice there are 57 slides here. That's pretty thin for a biology class. That's not considered excessive. Now, you may never have seen that before. Oh my gosh, a PowerPoint lecture with 57 slides. Oh my goodness gracious me. Yeah, welcome to science, welcome to biology. This is nothing. Remember, this is the summary of the chapter. I already went through the notes that came from the author and took out everything that you didn't need to worry about by following the course intended outcomes. This is your summary, which means there's far more in the chapter than here. And yes, it's still 57 slides. I've already weeded it all out. The worst I remember, a majors course again. It was a chapter on, I think it was vertebrate biology, so vertebrates. Technically chordates, but they were focusing on vertebrates. If I recall correctly, that one PowerPoint had something in the range of 220 slides. A single PowerPoint. Wow. I whittled that down from 220 slides. I think it was 99. So yeah, that posted lecture chapter had 99 slides. But remember, it came at 220. Do you know how hard it was to lop off effectively half of the chapter? Really difficult to do. But again, people get really grumpy about this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe there's so many notes in the chapter. Welcome to science. This is the summary. So I know I've said it like 15 times already in this video. I'll say it again. Read your chapter first, then go to the PowerPoints. This is the summary of the chapter. This is what you need to know for your exam, along with your labs. Every chapter is already done, posted, ready to go. It's all there. So you don't have to send me an email saying, what do I need to know for the test? If it's in the PowerPoint notes, part of your labs, you must know it for your exam. It's that simple. I've already taken out everything you don't need to worry about. So let's get rid of this. Go back here. All right here. And yeah, they're long, but remember, those are the summaries. That's not me. It doesn't happen every class. I have a just a non-majors bio course. It's kind of like majors biology, but just the non-majors version of that. Wow, I have some chapters for some post-it notes. They're only like 20 slides long. That's it. Okay, that's exceedingly small in my opinion. Apparently for some courses that's pretty normal, but in science, no, especially biology, nope. So right now, before we get any further, if you don't like this, find a different class. I'm serious. And because I'm on the topic, let me just go down here real quick. I'll come back. Don't worry. Don't worry. This is your examinations. So there you go. You see examinations. Just got to find where I set it. Gotta find it. There it is. Notice your examinations clearly says your exams will be somewhere between 50 to 100 questions. It's right there in your syllabus. No reason to get grumpy. No reason to yell at me later or go to the dean and say it's unfair. You knew this on day one for that, because it's not only something I talked about, it's in your syllabus. Homework. Okay. Homework comprises two things generally. The questions at the end of your chapters. And notice the ones you have to do are the environmental literacy quizzes. So the only one to do. There's several things at the end of your chapter. That's the only thing you have to do. I recommend you do the other things. It's good practice, but this is the only one you have to do. Now, the answers are in your book, at least they're supposed to be. Sometimes they're not. Now, what I was seeing with that for the last semester, the ebook had the answers at the end. The physical book did not. It made no sense. I went to the author, what's going on? They had no idea what's going on. They're only the author. They wrote the book. Oops. So through a lot of discussion, the author allowed me to get the answers and post them. So they're all here for you. Notice this module 1, module 2. This is chapter 1, module 1, chapter 1, module 2, chapter 2, module 1, and so forth. They're all here. So all your answers are there, either at the end of your book or you can look right here. And there you go. Now remember, you only have to do the environmental literacy quizzes. So I seem to recall they're a little bit further down, the environmental literacy quizzes. I have a lot of classes. There you go. Yeah, you only have to do the environmental literacy. It's the only part you have to do. And there's a lot in the homework. I recommend you do what you want to do. More the better, yeah, because it's more experience, more practice, but the environmental literacy is all you have to do. Now, that means I'm posting the answers. Let's go back to your syllabus. I'm posting the answers. So notice what I'm saying here. I don't want you copying the book. What I would like for you to do is just try to answer it. That tells you what you know and what you don't know, which tells you what to go back and study before you take your exam. I am not grading on what you get right and wrong. I know you have the answers. I grade on effort. For the homework, as long as you gave it the good old college try, you'll get all the points. You turned it on time, you gave it a good try, I'm happy with you. Because I'm using the homework to get you ready for the exams. In my opinion, that's what it's for. Don't stress about the homework grade. As long as you give it a good try and turn it in on time, you're golden. Don't worry about it. Now, how do you get me the homework? It's online class. Just email it to me. Email it to me at this address. This is my HCC. Oops, don't open that. HCC email address. Now, there's different ways you could do this. Students, some of them write it on a notebook paper and then photocopy it, send that to me. Fine. Some students do it on the phone, email it to me that way. I don't care. Just send it from your HCC email to my HCC email, and you're fine. It is due by 11:59 on the day of the exam. You'll see the date of the exam at the end of the syllabus. Like all college classes, don't turn it in late. You can turn it in early. I don't care if you turn it in early. Don't turn it in late. And I'm giving you 25 points on each homework assignment. I'll show you how to do the grades in a moment. Now, I understand things happen in life. Here are main things that I'll work with. You deal with a death in the family. You're in the hospital. You get a jury summons, or you're in jail. That's happened. I don't need to know why, by the way. Just validate it. You get a military issue. You got to go and serve. I will work with you. These are the main reasons. Now, there might be something that's outside of this that is extenuating. It has to be something extenuating, and you can validate in writing as to why I will excuse something. Homework, Gordon rule, exams. Why I'll excuse something. Let you turn in late. That kind of idea. Do a makeup test. You know, that kind of idea. But you have to validate it. You can't just say I was sick. Great. I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you're feeling better. Sure. But you got to validate it. Then I can help you. There might be something extenuating that you can document that falls outside of this. Let me know. But these are the general things that come up. So again, turn it in by 11:59 on the day of the exam. You want to turn it early, knock yourself out. Just send it from your HCC email to my HCC email. Remember, any email you send to me must be from your HCC email to my HCC email. Like I said with the discussion boards, on Fridays, I'll put up a discussion. Now, if you have an exam around that, I probably won't put it up. I want you focusing on your exam. But on the weeks we're not worrying about exams, yeah, every Friday I'll put up a discussion. You have 6 days. I usually put up on Friday at 5 p.m. just so you can do your day and then come to this. And it stays up until usually Thursday at 5 p.m. of the next week. So you get about 6 days. You just have to go in, read what I put up, and post something. Say your points of view, comment on your colleagues, have a discussion. You're not having a discussion with me, you're having a discussion with your colleagues. You can't get this right or wrong. You need to be civil, polite to each other, and just talk about the subject. That's it. That's all it's about. It's meant to foster understanding of the material, yeah, but also hopefully interest. And I'll post those again on Fridays. There it is, your Gordon Rule class. Yeah. Remember, HCC decided this would be a Gordon Rule course. I had nothing to do with that. If you're not familiar with Gordon Rule, here's what's going on. Way back when, Senator Gordon decided that college students are coming out woefully unprepared in mathematics and writing ability. No matter what you think, he was right about one thing. You will always be judged on how you write and how you talk. Always. It's how humans work. That includes emails, by the way. Please read over an email before you send it. Always. So the mathematics part, that was easy. They just had to say, all right, you're in this degree, you got to go to this math, whatever it is. College algebra, pre-calc, Cal 1, Cal 2, whatever maybe. Great. Writing was hard. Effectively, they really had two choices. They could have said, you need to take a third English class, get more writing. I actually would have voted for that one. There are plenty of people that need a job. And then you need to be taught formally how to write. They didn't go that route. They went what's known as writing across the curriculum. Now, I get why they did that. They want you exposed to a lot of different writing styles. Fine. Here's the problem with that. Even just take science. Even in science, just take biology. There are like 70 different ways to write in biology. I mean that seriously. If I'm going to write a paper for publication, hopeful publication, I do my research and I have an idea what journal I want to submit to. When I'm at that point, I would go to that journal, I read the instructions to authors, and that journal says, here's how you're going to do everything. There's really no such thing as MLA and APA. That's just not how it works. Sorry. And so I have to structure my paper based on that journal's preferences, whatever that happens to be. And then I submit it to them. Now, let's say, for example, that journal writes back saying, yeah, we don't think we're going to publish you. Okay. Happens all the time with scientists. Okay. So maybe I chose the Journal of Ecology. And that one came back saying, yeah, no, thank you. But I still think my research is warranting publication. Say, all right, instead of Journal of Ecology, I'm going to try Journal of Marine Biology and Ecology. It's a different journal. I now have to go to that journal, read its instructions to author, and reformat everything how they want. There's no such thing really as APA and MLA. It's not how it works. Sorry. And that's just within science. That's just within biology. So what exactly am I supposed to teach you? It's just not how it works in the real world. So this became problematic. On top of the fact, I'm not an English professor. It's not appropriate for them to make me into one where I'm supposed to grade you on the English because it's not my forte. It's not my specialty. The last English class I took was in like 1993 when I was an undergrad. Okay. So two things come up here. I made it about as user-friendly as I could, following what the department wants. So that's where these numbers come in, 1 to 7. What I would like for you to do is between now and the turn date, you see right there, June 23rd, find 2 articles on the same subject that relate to each other. And then do these things. Give me a summary of the articles. Now that might seem a bit high schoolish, but there's a point to that. For most scientists, the hardest part of a paper to write is the abstract. See it right there at the front of a paper, right at the beginning. Well, an abstract's a summary. It's not easy to take all that science and crush it down into a paragraph or 2. So you're working on that skill. You're going to compare and contrast the articles. How are they similar? How are they dissimilar? Even though they're on the same subject. And then I want your thoughts. At this point, you're about halfway through the course, so you should be able to give me some articulate views on what you think is going on. Now, whatever's going on, it's your thoughts. I'm not going to grade it on that. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, you actually think that? F for you. Of course not. That's silly. These are your thoughts. Now, for specificity issues, the college wants you to have something meaty, so there's your word count. You should have a short literature cited. I don't care which one of these you pick, APA or MLA. I don't care how you format it. Pick the one you want. Because remember, it doesn't really apply in the real world for science. So pick whichever one you like. I don't care. And then you must type it, double space it, Times New Roman font, and 1-inch margins. I had a few students years and years ago saying, it's not specific enough. Tell us what exactly you want. Okay, hopefully this is specific enough. And then don't be late. Email me your paper from your HCC email to my HCC email by midnight, well, 11:59 on June 23rd. Now here's another one that came up. I had students saying, well, you got to give us a topic. No, I don't. You are adults and or in college. You're not in high school. You're not in K through 12. It is not appropriate for me to say, Mr. Smith, you're going to be doing it on biotechnology. Miss Smith, you're going to be doing it on, I don't know, mycology. Reason why I picked those 2. No, you're not in high school anymore. You are mature enough. You can figure out a topic on your own. You just have to pick something that relates to environmental science. That's the only criterion here. It has to relate to environmental science because that's what the course is about. Outside of that, pick whatever part of biology you want. I don't care. So I gave you examples: astrobiology, bacteriology, biochemistry, biophysics, biotech, botany, subbio, ecology, evolutionary biology, genetics, histology, invertebrate zoology, medical science, nutrition, general zoology, mycology, phycology, physiology, vertebrate zoology, and biology. There are other subjects out there, sure. Pick any one of these as relate to environmental science. Oh, wait a minute. They don't relate to environmental science, do they? Are you sure? How hard is it to find this? Not hard. For example, I noted it has to be a published source. You can't say, well, I watched this video. No. Or I spoke to the science. No. It has to be a published paper. Now, you could do a .edu, you could do a .gov, or mainstream media. What is mainstream media? I gave you some examples. ABC News, CBS News, CNN, Fox News, NBC News. I gave you some examples. How hard is that to find? Not hard. For example, here's environmental biotechnology. I just, as you can clearly see in Google, plug that in and then went to news. Took me 0.31 seconds and I got 16 million results. Oh my gosh. On just page one, here are some papers. Pick anything that tickles your fancy. I don't care, as long as it relates to environmental science. It's not hard to find something. Remember, you got to find two papers that relate to the same thing. So if you choose, I don't know, plant breeding methods and how that relates to the environment. There it is right there in the environment. Great. You just got to find two papers on that. Shouldn't be too hard to do. 16 million results. You should be able to find two papers on it. Or I mentioned mycology. Fine. Here's environmental mycology. Great. This was 0.24 seconds and I got 7,000 results. So not as many here. Might be harder to find something, but still 7,000 results. And it took me 0.24 seconds. Now, granted, you got to go through this and find those two papers. So I do not care what area you want as long as it relates to environmental science. And then it must be published. Now, I noted this bias. Yeah, you got to be careful on that. Published sources have biases. So for example, not always, but often CNN tends to lean left. Not always though. And Fox News, not always, but often it tends to lean right. Okay, be aware of that. Is it appropriate to have biasing? I'll leave that to you. Now, a .edu, that shouldn't have biasing. If it's a published science paper, we don't like that in science. We don't like dogma. We should be reporting the data just as the data. .gov, so like NASA, is still considered reputable. CDC is still considered reputable. The NIH, still considered reputable. So I don't expect to see bias there. But, you know, in the end, people are people, so watch out for that. Hey, you could talk about that in your paper. Generally in biology, it's considered to be appropriate for the paper to be 2 years or younger. The science changes rapidly. Now, could you find something that's older than 2 years? Sure, why not? Send me an email if you have a question on that. I had a student a couple semesters ago that wanted to read a book. Okay, much more work than I was asking for, but they wanted to read the book. The book was like 10 years old. It's fine with me. She told me what the book was. I looked up the book. I don't seem to recall I remembered it. So I looked up the book. Yeah, it seemed perfectly applicable. She seemed like, from what I remember, she really enjoyed reading it. No worries at all. It's a published source. It related to environmental science. They just checked with me because. Great. And from what I remember, they really enjoyed the assignment. That's one reason I did this, by the way. I want you to have flexibility to choose a subject you enjoy. Try and have some fun with this. This is state law. We have to do this. Sorry about that. You either have to have like essay exams or you have to write a paper. That's really how this comes down to. I don't really like essay exams. A lot of students don't like them. I have multiple choice tests, multiple choice true, false, that kind of idea. So I chose this. But you can have fun with it, yeah? As long as you do these 7 things, I'm not an English professor. I'll be happy with you. Don't turn in late. And again, just one other reminder, when you're ready for it, send it from your HCC email to my HCC email. Don't be late on that. I turn in early, but please don't be late. Examinations, right. So you do have 3 exams in this course. I'll show you when they are when we get to it at the tentative schedule. We're almost there. So they will be given through Canvas, and you have to take it on a formal desktop or laptop. Unbeknownst to me and like everybody, we learn this as we go. You can't do it on like an iPad. You can't do it on a cell phone. You can't do it. You can't say, well, I can bring up Canvas on my phone. Why can't I take it there? It doesn't work. When we talked to Canvas tech support, they were very clear about this. You must do it on a formal desktop or laptop, and it must be done through Google Chrome. Sorry, if you want to do it through like Safari, it doesn't work very well. If you choose to do it that way and then later say, well, that's not fair. Yeah, it is, because you chose to do it that way. Right here it says, don't do that. You got to use a desktop or laptop and you got to use Google Chrome. That's what Canvas wants. It's not what I want, what Canvas wants. Make sure your computer, operating system, browser are updated. Of course, don't cheat. I have caught students cheating. It's a great way to fail a class. Like technical issues. All students will write me and say, yeah, during my test, the power went out. Sucks for you. And I mean that seriously, because that can be looked into. And I have caught students cheating that way. They claim their power goes out when it actually didn't. Sorry, folks. If you have a technical issue during your exam, you can't tell me that because I can't help you. Like I said at the beginning of this video, you got to go right here. Canvas Tech Support. They're the only people that can help you. I can't, which means you better be doing your job correctly. If you are not, there are going to be problems. If you lie, you're done. You're done. And if you cheat, you're going to fail the course. Now, as I'm noting here, dates will be given and therefore taken. It's in your tentative schedule. You have exactly, it might be hard to see this on here because I've made it in red, 1 hour and 40 minutes. I was trying to highlight that as serious. 1 hour and 40 minutes to take the test. Now, I'm trying to give you as much leeway here as I can. I have it set to start at 9 a.m. and close at 11:59 p.m. I do not care when you start the test. It's up to you, but you only get 1 hour and 40 minutes. However, if you start it later than 10:19 p.m., you won't get 1 hour and 40 minutes because the test will always close at 11:59. So make sure you start it before 10:19 p.m. to get the full hour and 40 minutes. But within 9 a.m. and 11:59 p.m., start it whenever you like. Heaven forbid you start it at 11:58 p.m. You gave yourself exactly 1 minute for the test. Don't do that. But again, let's say you started at noon. Okay, you get 1 hour and 40 minutes. You started at 9 a.m., get 1 hour and 40 minutes. You start at 9 p.m., get 1 hour and 40 minutes. You're getting the exact same time the students on campus get. I'm keeping parity with your classmates. You can't tell me you need extra time. The only way that works is with a disabilities note. By state law, I cannot help you unless you send me that disabilities note. I'll come back to that in a minute. As I noted, your questions are going to be from 50 to 100 questions. If you don't like that, find another class. Maybe you prefer essay exams. Find a teacher that gives them. I don't know of one offhand. I know one that does it in their majors courses all the time, but for environmental science, not sure, but go find one. You will be answering questions one at a time. You will not get to go back and relook at the questions. Sorry about that. There are reasons for this. I do recommend you make Teams appointments to go over your completed exams. And remember, you're taking the test at the same time as everybody else, whatever day it is for that hour and 40 minutes. Same circumstances, death of the family, hospitalization, jury or jail issues, military duties. You have to send me the validation. It has to be a documentable reason why you missed for me to allow a makeup test. Now, if you're sick, I don't even know why you're sick. Just have a doctor send a note saying, yes, on that day, at that time, they were sick. If you went to jail, heaven forbid, I don't need to know why you went to jail. But from my experience, from all these students where things have happened, there's apparently a lot of paperwork for people who go to jail. So just validate it somehow. You don't need to tell me what happened. Just validate it. Of course, death of the family, I'm so sorry, heaven forbid, but I will work with you. I'm following the rules of the college, but I will always work with you whenever I can. I recommend you don't miss. It is my prerogative to give an oral exam if you missed. So I recommend you take this seriously. All right, grading. So I use a weighted system and you can see what everything's worth. Exam 1 is worth 20%, exam 2, 20%, exam 3, 20%, Gordon rules 20%. Homework 1 is worth 5%. Now there's a project homework. That's your lab on biological diversity. That lab has a lot to do. So I made it its own grade. That's all that's going on there. It's no different than the lab, except there's a lot to do. So I was trying to help you out by giving you extra points on that lab. Homework set number 2, homework set number 3, and you can see it all adds up to 100%. There you go. You know your breakdown. Don't sniffle at the homework. This 20% is huge for homework. The Gordon rule, 20% as well. I did that on purpose. As long as you do those 7 things in the syllabus, you'll get all the points. It helps the grade out. I'm really trying to give you every advantage I can within reason. Now, this is your grade breakdown, but here is an example. This is a fake student in a fake class. I'm just showing you how a point system works. Notice for this fake student in this fake class, exam 1, they got 63 points out of 70. It's 90%. There you go. So 90%, that's 20% of the grade. Exam 2, they got 72 points out of 84. They got an 86.9%. I love math. I'm a scientist, go figure. I will always follow the rules of mathematics. Always. That's more important when you get to your final grading, but always follow it. You can see that's also 20% of the grade, and so forth. Gordon rule. They did something wrong. I don't know. Maybe they forgot a literature cited. So they got 16 points out of 20. They got an 80% on it. And 80% is 20% of your grade, and so forth. So at the end of the day, I just had to calculate that. Exam 1 was 20% of your grade. They got a 90%. 20% of the grade, and you got a 90%. Exam 2, they got an 86.9%. It was 20% of your grade. 20% of your grade, 86.9%, and so forth. Tally it all up, and you can see what the student got. The student got an overall grade of 89.9%. Now, like I just said, I am a scientist. I like math, so I follow the rules of mathematics. By the rules of mathematics, it's a 0.9. I can round up, which means this student, this fake student, got a fake A. Great fake job. And that also means in your overall grades too. If you get an 89.5 to 100, I'm allowed to round up 89.5 to 90. You get an A. Great. If you had an 89.4, excuse me, you still got the A. If you had an 89.5, if you get a 79.5, that rounds up to an 80, you get a B. So 89.5 would round to a 90, an A. 79.5 would round to an 80, that's a B. 69.5 would round to a 70, that's a C, and so forth. I will always round up when I'm allowed to. So obviously 89.4, by the rules of mathematics, I cannot round up. It will not round to a 90. You will get a B. There is no subjectivity in my grading. And in all these years, all these decades of me being a college professor, I don't remember any one time a student saying my grade's unfair. They got an A, I got a B. That's not fair. I don't remember that ever happening because I'm following mathematics. And so if you get that 89.4, you'll get a B and we'll cry together. But I'm just following math. But it means take it seriously. Last semester, what, a week ago, a student in, I think it was my non-majors bio class, got a 69.3. He knew from day one I wouldn't round up, so I didn't round up. Now, he asked me to round up. I can't. It's not fair to round up his grade and everybody else's. I hold everybody equally by following the rules of math. There is no subjectivity in my grading. And with that student, I reminded them, you know, during the entire semester, it would have been a good idea to actually ask me questions on the material, come to any one office hours. They never came to office hours, and go over exams. They didn't do any of that. So go figure. They didn't do well in the class. And I held to what is in the syllabus. I follow the rules of math. No subjectivity. It's what's fair. And I'm always going to do what's fair. Remember, you cheat, you fail the course. Don't cheat. It's not worth it. Cell phone pager recorders. Doesn't really bear in this class, but just in case it comes up, Teams meetings, for example, not going to be recorded by you. I might record it. I'm in charge of it, but there's no reason to. Lecture notes. You have everything you need. If it was ever a lecture, you wouldn't need to record it. You have all your notes, that kind of idea. But this is more just to remind you what happens in other courses. Like cell phones, it's considered polite to turn them off. So if you're in that hallway doing my class and your cell phone goes off, that can really be disturbing a lot of people around you, including the classes. So again, have a little bit of common courtesy. This talks about recording classes. That's a state issue. But again, we don't have lectures, so it doesn't really apply to us. But I just wanted you to be aware of it. Talking in class, again, that's more of a lecture issue. It doesn't really apply to us. I was thinking more, talking in the hallway and things. Try to be polite. Just because you're not in class, somebody else might be in class. Extra credit. If there's any extra credit, you'll see it on your exams. It is not appropriate to send me a message saying, hey, you're going to give me this. No, I'm not. It's happened before. I've had students come by my office and say, you know what? I'm on that bubble. I'm an AB student, BC student. You're going to give me an extra credit paper. Wow. Good to know. Too bad I'm not going to do it. It's not fair. I'm not going to do that for one student. I'm going to do it for everybody. I'm going to have parity for all students. It's the only thing that's fair. One of those students, there were a couple of them, same thing. One of them was a BC student. They're right on that border. They actually, no, they weren't quite on the border. What did they get? They got 75.5. So they really weren't on the border, but they wanted to get up to an 80. They wanted to get to a B. So two things. Once again, they were another student that didn't bother to come by office hours, didn't bother to go over exams. So I reminded them they really need to do that to improve their grades during a course. But then I reminded them about my syllabus. They wanted me to give them extra credit after the course had ended. I told them no, because it's not fair. I'm not going to give it to you. It has to be given to all students. On top of the fact the course had already ended. So you've got to think your way through this. I don't know what's done in high school anymore, but this is not happening here. Announcements, like I said, check them regularly, even on non-class days, I mean, including weekends too. Notes, a lot of this comes up more in lecture than in lab, but remember, I'm not a medical doctor. So there are subjects in medicine that pop up in biology all the time. I'm qualified to teach it, but I'm not a medical doctor. You can see what my background is: ecology, geology, and zoology. That's my background. So this course is like written for me. But whenever a medical issue comes up, please don't try to make me into your own personal medical doctor. I am not one. It's not appropriate for me to ask those questions. What's only appropriate is for you to find a board certified medical doctor. That's who I'd recommend. You are responsible for keeping up. This is not high school. It's not like you're going to come back to class after missing 2 weeks and say, what do we do? Where's my packet of material? Nope. If you miss, go in the syllabus, go to the tentative schedule, find out where you should be, what chapters you should have read, what labs you should have done, and start working on it. And then if you have questions, sure, you can ask. Disabilities, right? So I've given you all the contact information for disabilities here. By state law, I cannot help you unless you talk to them first. You can't send me a message saying, I need 4 hours for a test. Okay, I'm happy to do it once you talk to them. Then the disabilities office will send me a notice saying, here's what this student gets. Then I will follow it. One is state law, and two, I'm fine doing it anyhow, but I will follow whatever it says. But you've got to talk to them first. These next two bullets kind of go hand in hand. HCC offers this counseling service. They do it Baycare. There it is, Baycare. This is incredible. These are professionals who are willing to talk to you for free because you're an HCC student. We even have counselors that work at the college. Another way you can go and get help if you need it. Two notes on this, if I may. It is considered a mark of health in today's world, especially here in the United States, to talk to somebody when you need to. It's a pretty messed up world we live in. My window's right there, so I'm looking at the world. It's a pretty messed up world we live in. So it's stressful, yeah. And so at some point, most people will need to talk to somebody during their life. It could be about anything: relationships, money, school, work. I had a student last semester. It was right about the time that the Russian invasion was happening. And he was taking it really to heart. And so they're still talking about this. Will it lead to World War III? Heck, as of right now, Finland and Sweden might be moving into NATO. Norway's been there since the inception, but not Finland and Sweden. Finland definitely caught Russia's attention. Russia was clear on that. If you go in, that's going to be problems. Well, remember, if anyone, by Article 5, if any one NATO country is attacked, all NATO countries are attacked. So if Russia ends up attacking any NATO country like Finland or Poland, all countries must go to their aid. Well, US is part of that. So that would be an instant war between all of us and Russia. I've even heard rumblings about a potential of restarting the drafting in the United States if things go bad. Well, I'm an old folk now, and I just hit 50. So my being drafted is really unlikely. I'm well outside the age group. Even if I pass military service, it's pretty unlikely. But this student, I didn't ask him, but he's around 20 or so. So he's prime age group to get drafted. And he was taking this pretty hard. I understand that. I really do. So he ended up needing to talk to somebody. No worries. I told him again at that time, this is about a month and a half into the term, it is a mark of health to speak to somebody when you need to. And my goodness, this is free. Now, in his case, we got him to the counselors on campus. Not a problem. If you ever need that as well, let me know. I can direct you. Absolutely. I'll be happy to help you. But this is also for free. Talk to them whatever you want. Outside of like a college, it's pretty amazing our college has this. This is massively expensive. I have a friend who, as we speak, is in her third inpatient center for drug addiction. Now, first thing, when I first met her, time she went into her first one, first thing I was saying was, yes, it's healthy to go. But my hat's off to her. I really respected that she was doing her best to deal with this. And I still respect her to the nth degree as we speak now. Hard path to go through. That first place she went to, she was there for 2 weeks. She told me later that one center she went to for 2 weeks cost her 130,000 US dollars. Are you kidding me? I'm roughly $130,000 away from $130,000. I'm just a teacher. I couldn't afford that. She's on her third one right now. She doesn't have insurance. Oh my. Do you know how fortunate you are to have this available to you? Use it. It is a mark of health to speak to somebody when you need to. And that goes right along with the second bullet. Speak up, HEC. If you ever hear somebody threatening themselves, you, the college, your classmates, whatever it is, this is meant to keep everybody safe. Everybody, including the person doing the threatening. I'll give you an example. In an environmental science class several years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago now, I had a student that was threatening the college. He wasn't threatening me as far as I understood. He was threatening the college, and he went and directly threatened the dean. I found out about it because he was in my class and he suddenly was gone and I had to know what to do with grades. Turned out he came back and we found out what was going on. Turned out he was schizophrenic and he had stopped taking his medicine and things were not going well. And so as he started to threaten people in the college dealt with it. Now, this wasn't designed to like send him away. No. This is designed to get the person the help they need before they hurt themselves or someone else. And that's exactly what happened. He got the help he needed. He was gone for like a semester or two. I don't know what was happening during that time. It was none of my business. I never asked. And then I saw a couple semesters. He came back, continued on his way. Perfect. That's exactly what this is for. To keep everybody safe and get people the help they need so that you can continue on with your life. Don't ever abuse this. Use it only when you need to and use it properly. Remember, every course you take should be a comfortable, welcoming environment. Every single one. But for every reason, religion, national origin, age, disability, sexual orientation, marital status, gender identity, I don't care what the subject is, you should feel welcomed at HEC. Should anything ever happen, talk to us. We will help you out. You just have to let us know what's going on. Now, it's amazing for me to say this with a 16-page syllabus. I have no idea how long I've been talking now. I forgot to look at my clock when I started. I'll find out when I process the video. But while I've tried to be as thorough as I can, I might have forgotten something. I'm sorry. If I see anything that's wrong or I forgot, I will let you know. All right, that finally gets us to the tentative schedule. Now, I also learned this the hard way when I first started teaching decades ago. Notice it doesn't say schedule. Yeah, it can't just say schedule because things happen. And I don't know what's going to happen, but because things need to be flexible. I don't know, hurricane. Maybe things get shut down. And if we have a test on the same day a hurricane's rolling into Tampa, of course we're going to move the test date. Of course. So I noted things, unexpected closures from pandemics, fires, storms, there's your hurricanes, terrorist threats, they've happened. You should have the Hawk Alert at HEC. I recommend if you don't have it, get it. USF also has their version. It's called the Bull Alert. Get it. When I was either a student or teaching at USF, I cannot tell you how many times I saw like shooter on campus, stay away, especially the Tampa campus. Oh my goodness. My wife, when she was doing her graduate degree at USF, got trapped in a basement of the library because of a lockdown. Yeah, again, it's a interesting world we live in. So be careful out there, yeah? Professor emergencies, things happen, I know that. Now, when I have lecture classes, yeah, time to lecture. So I stuck that in there just to kind of give you an idea. But for us then, it's more like college stuff's going on. Maybe I get really sick when something's happening, but again, check those announcements. That being said, here's when things are generally going to happen. I'm obviously videoing this before the 16th, but first day class. So hopefully you're watching this around that day. There's your quiz on the syllabus. We're taking it on the 23rd. It'll be taken through Canvas quizzes, just like your exams. By the 25th, you need to send me an email just saying, yes, I want to stay in the course. Now remember your labs. These are suggestions. You do not have to do the lab on the 31st. You do not have to do the lab on the 2nd. They're just suggestions. All homework, the stuff at the end of your chapters, the environmental literacy quizzes, and your lab questions, all due on the day of the test. So if you want to do everything like on the 20th of June, I don't recommend that. You could. These are suggestions. I'm trying to space it out for you. Get it all done. Ask me questions. Don't forget, start with the lab manual, then go to the additional labs, go to that file folder. Send all your homework to me. You could do it in a single PDF or a single email. That's fine. And then take your test. Your test will be through Canvas quizzes, just like we explained. You can see again, the first exam was on the 21st by 11:59 p.m. I even told you exactly what chapters it's on. Exam 2. It doesn't have many labs. This one is a doozy, so bear that in mind. And I was trying to space that out. Notice I set up that lab on the 28th. It's already on Canvas for you. You can do whatever you want. But I didn't have the test until the 5th. I was really trying to space out because there's a lot to do on that lab. And then there's your second exam on the 5th of July, and you can see what it's over. And then the last one, it only has one lab. I gave you a date to do it. You can do it before, you can do it after, making sure it's done by the day of the test. Submit it on the exam. Now notice your final. It is on the last day of class effectively, which for this course is set by HEC to be the 25th of July. And notice what it's on, just these chapters. It is not cumulative. I saw no reason to do that to you. And then these last few pages are the frequently asked questions. These are the questions I get over and over and over again. I'm trying to save us both time, which means read your syllabus before you ask me questions, and certainly read this. I might have already answered the question for you. Right, so all of that is your syllabus. Let's go back to this files folder. Those are all your files for the course. Please let me know if you have any questions on that. Your discussions, again, every Friday, except for when we have exams, I'll post these. Just check on Fridays, you'll see what's going on. Oh, look at that, it's not loading again. HEC again, it's a little slow loading today. I don't know why. Now I already have your first discussion posted, but it's not going to be viewable by you until the 27th. But I already have it ready to go. I mean, I can quickly show it to you. It's nothing secretive. There you go. So I have a summary of what's going on, where you should be, that kind of idea, and then the discussion itself. Of course I put links in to validate what I'm talking about, that kind of idea. And then you'll comment. You can reply to that, and then your colleagues will reply to your reply, and that kind of idea. It's discussion meant for you guys. I will chime in if and when I have to. There's your quizzes. Now I don't have your syllabus quiz up yet, I don't believe. Goodness, HEC, come on. No, I don't, but I'll get your syllabus quiz up there soon. And you can see the exams when they are. Obviously, it's not openable yet by you. And it has to be, it'll open at 9 a.m. on those days. It closes at 11:59 p.m. But remember, you only get an hour and 40 minutes whenever you start. Unless you start later than 10:19 p.m. Then you get less than an hour and 40 minutes. Don't do that to yourself. Grades are just that. And then last but not least, if you go to the Del Mabry bookstore and you purchase the ebook, you can't do it through me, then you would come here and register your book. If you have any tech issues, you have to talk to Macmillan. I cannot help you with tech issues. And then you'll be able to access this. Now, this is obviously my view. So if you click on like the ebook. No. Why is it not opening? Huh. It was working like 10 seconds ago. Okay. Like I said, tech issues happen. This was working right before I came in here. There it goes. Gotta love technology, eh? Oh, okay, so it says it's on a new window. Okay. Why is it not showing it? All right, now I tested this right before we came in here. So what is it doing? Let's just see if it's, no, that's Canvas. All right, so it's being a bit fussy. I had it, I don't know why it's doing, oh, there it goes. Okay, like I said, tech issues are lovely, aren't they? All right, so before I started this video, I tried it and it was opening with the ebook without any problems, but who knows? Canvas might be having an issue. The Macmillan webpage might be having an issue, but I was going to show you your ebook. And again, right before I started the video, it was working just fine. So I don't know why it's being grumpy at the moment. This would be when I would go and talk to the publisher and ask them what's going on. So it's being grumpy right now. Sorry about that. I'll let it see if it'll load before we stop tonight. But it's there. It's all ready to go. It's lovely. It's a fine ebook. I have no problems with it. And last but not least, if you want it, you can link into the HC library. There's maybe your Gordon rule, you need to do something. So, knock yourself out if you need to do that. You don't have to, it's wanting me to log in, but that's fine. So again, it's all there for you, ready to go. So here it is all for you. I still wanted to load. Sorry about that. It's not showing you the ebook, but it is there. Again, it was working just fine. If it's not working the next couple of days, I'll have to talk to the publisher and find out why it doesn't want to open up for me. Again, only they can answer that. I can't answer that. So kind of nice it actually did that. So there you go. There's your course in a nutshell. Welcome to the class. I hope it's what you're looking for. Last semester, I had tons of great comments for the course. I didn't have anybody that I remember in the class that did enjoy this. They seemed to like to do it on their own, the pacing on their own. They liked all the files I put up for them. So I hope you enjoyed as well. But if you have any questions, come to me sooner than later, and I'll do everything I can to help you out. Beyond that, it is lovely to meet you, and I'm looking forward to the email from you soon saying you want to stay in the class, as well as the quiz on the 23rd. Beyond that, have yourself a lovely day, folks. I'll hopefully talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.